Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you to our center, Tushita. It is indeed a great pleasure for us to have with us Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul. Geshe was supposed to come and teach on 8th of September, but most of us were sick, and Geshe was also, I think, a bit exhausted from his travels. So that is why it got postponed to today. Today, Geshe is going to give a discourse on the heart's utmost need, or heart spoon, which is a teaching on impermanence and death by Pabongka Rinpoche. That has been translated into English by our spiritual director, Venerable Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who received this transmission from Ribur Rinpoche. And now, just a brief introduction to Geshe, even though he doesn't need it. So just a brief introduction to Geshe. Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul is the director of Tibet House, the cultural center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, New Delhi, since 2011. Venerable Geshe served as the interpreter and translator for His Holiness the Dalai Lama within India and abroad. He is one of the chief editors and co-author of scientific, philosophical, Buddhist, and secular books with prominent professors like Paul Ekman and Howard Cutler in the USA and UK, as well as His Holiness the Dalai Lama. These books are being used at centers and institutes the world over to study more thoroughly Buddhist philosophy, metaphysics, epistemology, and science. He has also translated several important Buddhist philosophy texts and has contributed various papers for national and international conferences. We appreciate deeply Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul's profound knowledge of science and his interactions with world-renowned physicists that give him the unique ability to teach Buddhist philosophy with a modern and relevant twist that many of his students admire. Geshe, we are very grateful to you for accepting our invitation to come and teach here at Tushita. You know you're always welcomed here, more than welcomed. And may I now request you to teach?
Okay, thank you, Professor Rinpoche. Yes, thank you. And the online participants, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. And thank you, Professor Rinpoche, for this kind of invitation. And as always, Tushita, Delhi, and Tibet House, the Cultural Center of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama in Delhi. These two are like the two brothers or two sisters in Delhi, and always inspiring each other. And people who want, for the people who come to Tibet House who are interested for more of the day-to-day practices, then we drive them, or we suggest connect them to the center here in the Delhi, and those who are into wanted to have more systematic academic studies. So Tushita Center, people, they know each other so well, so they come to Tibet House. This is the kind of the relationship between the centers here in Delhi. And I truly appreciate Professor Rinpoche's effort for the last more than 20 years. 35 years. 35 years of effort in really holding this center and making sure that as many are benefited in line with His Holiness's the visions, as well as Lama Zopa Rinpoche's, and back then Lama Yeshe's the dream. And this is something very, very inspiring. And I'd like to also share with all my friends, both offline and online, that we can learn from such individuals like Professor Rinpoche to take responsibility of serving the Dharma and serving the sentient beings, and particularly when one gains confidence in the presence of your Buddha nature within. And then the next job is how to awaken this, how to retrieve this, the Buddha nature that is within us, how to retrieve this. And in the act of retrieving, there are many things to be done. One is the first of all, it is through introducing the counterforce, opposite forces, to counteract the mental defilements. This one, and in so doing, the next is engaging the actual activities. For example, after generating the bodhicitta, man become Buddha for the birth of sentient beings. There's mention of the what should you be doing? That you made this commitment to become Buddha for the birth of sentient beings. And what are you going to do? This next question: how to make it happen? So for this mentions that 6 perfections plus 4 perfections to be adopted. So when seeing these things, we see that the compassion in action, or your bodhisattva's ideals in action, that is something so important. So which Professor Rinpoche, all these many years of her full dedication to His Holiness, dedication to His Holiness, and to Lama Zopa Rinpoche, this is very, very a great inspiration for all of us. And see amongst us, in your own capacity, in what way we can have some service to the Buddha Dharma, to the centers around, and not necessarily Buddhist centers, any center or any place which offers service to the humanity, for the NGOs, the engaged in charity work. So just see how we can be of some service to these communities. Meanwhile, on those who are fully into studies, like in a proper education system, colleges, universities, and so forth. So for them, I would say that that we should know, we should have a sense of discretion that where should we place the emphasis. That when you're doing your undergrad studies or masters or PhD and so forth, I would say that better focus on that part. And when you have free time, like 1 month vacation and so forth, then you can dedicate it for these activities like serving the community and so forth. And for example, my dear friend Nicola, so he's somebody. Wherever he goes, he spreads a wave of, the wave of Dharma service, where people are connected to the Dharma in a very, a proper way. This is something very, very inspiring. Okay, Venerable Bande, come. So with this, the one thing, and then they say, for example, like another figure which I would be so happy to share with you is Professor the Naveenji, and he would be very unhappy if I mention his name and request him to raise his hand. He'll be very unhappy, I know, but for the benefit of the larger group, they ought be. So I would request Professor Naveenji to raise his hand. Yes. So great inspiration. In fact, being a professor, and not just a professor, but the very senior professor, at the same time, extremely and driven to uncover the hidden treasure of oneself, a great inspiration. Thank you so much. And I see, for example, like Ajirji, and from the young people, they're only looking for that IAS officer, right? They are looking for that. And then we have again another great inspiration like the Ajirji, and likewise we have the Joyaji, a great inspiration for so many whose the knowledge of having the modern education, and they're amazingly high the standard and being connected with the Dharma for all these many years. These are the inspiration for all of us, for the youngsters. Okay, having said this, all the participants both offline and online, and we have a Venerable monk here from Burma, from Thailand, from Laos. Your name? Venerable Jandawo. And this is again a great inspiration for all of us. So okay, Sanjayji, please come. You will come. Okay, this is a great, and for me personally, this is a great the meeting of the like-minded people, and then see how we can spread the message of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the universal compassion, based on the understanding of the interdependency of oneself and others. So with this mind, I request Nicola to share with us, do the screen sharing for both offline and online participants with a very quick, and the prayer to be done to set a motivation properly, that whatever we are doing here, and collectively will be of great benefit for the individuals as well as collectively, and that whatever the merit that we gained out of this gesture, that be dedicated to the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and that all the teachings of the Buddha of universal compassion and based on understanding interdependency, that they spread far and wide in the minds of all sentient beings. And the centers such as the Tushita Center, that they thrive in the activities of the serving the Dharma by organizing various programs, that these centers, they continue to thrive to be of service to the humanity. So with this mind, that is I think, Nicola, you need to have that. Yes. And Nicola will be leading the prayers, setting proper motivation. And I see that many of you are from the Nalanda studies, so we don't need anything of such introduction as to how to set up motivation. But for those of us who are new to this, I may as well quickly share with you what to think of. This is what the great the Tibetan masters say as that there are two things to remember, to do, one at the beginning and one at the end. At the beginning is setting proper motivation. At the end, dedicating merits properly. So first, as a part of setting proper motivation, let us visualize all the enlightened masters like Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas from different traditions, from the Theravada tradition, from the Chinese tradition, from the Tibetan tradition, within Tibetan tradition, Sakya, Kaikyu, Nyingma, Gelug, Cholang, Shalu, and also the Pudong tradition. So let us invoke all these enlightened masters with respect to you, seeing them as role model for you, generating universal compassion based on the understanding of the interdependence ones from others. And also let us not miss to visualize your true parents and all the family members who are children and all other demon sentient beings with you. And the purpose of our being together is to awaken the hidden treasure within us, a hidden treasure, which is also referred to as Buddha nature, that exists within every single sentient being, irrespective of what time you came into existence, irrespective of what religious background or your ethnicity, your gender, and so forth, and that everybody has the Buddha nature. So our job here is to awaken this Buddha nature by resorting to very powerful remedy to overcome the mental defilements, so that the Buddha nature will be manifested fully within you, and that you experience the total fearlessness and infinite happiness. So with this mind, and let us say the following prayers together. Okay, for the offline participants, we have the screen sharing on the television set here, and for the offline and for online, we have it on your own screen. Yes, Nicola, thank you.
Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Sangye Chudan Tsoge Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dagni Kelsoje Dagi Jinso Gibe Tsoknamgi Jola Penjir Sangye Juba Sho Sangye Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dagni Kelsoje Dagi Jinso Gibe Tsoknamgi Jola Penjir Sangye Juba Sho Sangye Chudan Soge Chonam La Jancho Pardo Dagni Kyabsoichi Dagi Jinso Gibe Tsoknamgi Jola Penchir Sangye Juba Sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separatedness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is freed of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all lead hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, which through the knowledge of path cause those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possessions of which help subduers expound a variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shine forth the forever noble light rays, to you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Tu Prabhava Hetum Desham Tathagato Hyavadat Desham Chayo Nirodha Devam Vadi Mahashramana Yeswaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Desham Tathagato Hyavadat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashramana Yeswaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Desham Tathagato Hyavadat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashramana Yeswaha. The meaning of the mantra: all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite. Such is the nectar-like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times, I pay obeisance. The four seals of the Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of the nature of suffering. All phenomena are of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. transcending peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha, the Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not wash the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered in misery's gloom. Instructions on parting from the four attachments. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view.
Arasangate bodhisvatyata Om gate gate aragate 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 arasangate bodhisvatyata Okay, so this session, one session, we're going to split into two. The first half is going to be sharing about this text, a text on impermanence composed by Pabongka Rinpoche, and then the second half is going to be the interactive session. It's more like the questions that you might have both offline and online. Whatever question that you have, just bring this up, and not necessary that the question that you have should necessarily should be answered right here. And just make sure that you bring up your questions. Okay, so the whatever question that you have, please don't hesitate to bring them up for the benefit of all of us. And the questions can be very helpful. And don't think that questions are small. Don't think that your questions are small. Sometimes what seems to be so small can be the trigger point for many of us to awaken our thinking. So having said this, let us first keep in mind that if somebody were to ask you, what is the essence of the Buddha's teachings? And what is the essence of Buddha's teachings? And some people may say compassion or wisdom or be kind and so forth. So that we need to know on two levels. One which ordinary people can understand it, and other more technically meaning in a more profound sense. The first more on an ordinary sense, what I would say is that let us not think of that Buddha's teachings as something related to the isms. And it should not be thought of as an ism. If there is an ism, and then the Buddha, as most of us know, that the Buddha, after having become enlightened, the Buddha, when he left the palace in search of the solution to solve the problems of all sentient beings, not only confined to human beings, but to all sentient beings, there, what the Buddha did was, they followed the first teacher, Acharya Alara Kalam. And then very soon, Buddha reached the same level as Acharya Alara Kalam. And he did not say that, okay, this is my ism, this is my Acharya Alara Kalamism. So this was not how he remained fixed, saying this is my ism, this is my tradition. No, finally, these isms are for your well-being. And then what for? Before I came here is to look for the solution for the problems of all the beings, and still I didn't get the solution. So therefore he left and to look for the next teacher. Second teacher, Acharya Uddrika. Again, very soon he reached the Prince Adant. He reached the same level as that of the Acharya Uddrika. And again, he didn't say that this is my ism, this is my ism, this is my the religious sect, this is my tradition, this is, I'm following the Acharya Uddrika. No, it's not about the ism, it's about my well-being, it's about your well-being. So for that, where we get stuck with the isms, this is the narrow-mindedness, and where your ism becomes more important than your well-being. And if you look at the stories, the biographies of all these enlightened masters, we see that all these great teachers, they came to not start ism, but they came to solve the problems of the humanity. For example, say, we think about, say, chronologically speaking, let's say Lord Ram. Lord Ram, again, how much he was being revered by the people. And he was a prince. There were many princes and many the young people from the royal families. But not that everybody respected everybody else the way they respected Lord Ram, because of his demeanor of compassion and the gentleness. This is something extremely unique about him, that everybody revered him as a god. And then look at, say, for example, say, the Lord Mahavir. Again, incredibly great. Again, he said that Lord Mahavir was also a prince. And again, the path that he showed to the people, how to resort to ahimsa, how to resort to non-violence. This is really inspiring. And then the Buddha Shakyamuni, where he left his own palace and then just started to lead a life, something which is more difficult than the ordinary people, and hardly getting food to eat and so forth. And in order for a purpose, to help, to look for a solution to help all the beings. So this is the reality. With this in mind, the purpose for all these enlightened masters to come on planet Earth is to save the world, to save the sentient beings. So with this in mind, your well-being, sentient beings' well-being, that is the number one, and isms are to make this happen. So let's not forget the means and the end. Means should not be seen as more important than the end. And the means are for the end, not the end for the means. So this is where people failing to make this distinction, who hold on to the means as more important than the ends, these people, they become fanatics, fundamentalists. Whereas those people who see the end is more important than the means, these people will learn how to embrace each other rather than the fight amongst each other. Okay, having said this, we need to acknowledge what the Prince Siddhartha, after becoming enlightened, they say what the message that Prince Siddhartha was to convey to the world is to tell the world that we all have the hidden treasure, which is known as the Buddha nature. Everyone has this hidden treasure. And so this is something that we must realize it. If we don't realize that, no matter what Dharma practice that you do, and some people, they get dedicated like 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, 4 hours and so forth. And if you're not convinced about the presence of the hidden treasure, technically known as Buddha nature, if you don't have this, then the whole purpose is going to be defeated. So with this mind, for to talk about this hidden treasure, the first question comes, what do you want in your life? What do you want? This question, what do you want? So many people, they may not be able to articulate what is in their mind. Many of us may think that, okay, I want a good life, my family members to be together. Yes, of course. What's wrong with this? There's nothing wrong. And some people may say, we need to help others. That's also correct. And some people said, okay, I don't really have anything. It's just that I should be healthy, good health. So whatever you have in your mind, if you ask the second question, why do you need good health? Why do you need your family members to be together? Why do you need some power? Why do you need this, that, and so forth? Then everybody will come to the same point, that I'll be happy, that I'll be happy. In other words, we have to acknowledge that we all are seeking to get away from the miseries, to minimize the miseries, and expand our happiness. This is what everyone is seeking. This is universal fact. So with this mind, next question is, can we attain that? Can we really obtain what we are seeking, to get away from miseries and to have the maximum, or have the happiness or the ease to its infinite? Is it possible? This is again the next question. So it is known as articulation of your thoughts. And with this answer, the Buddha gave is, yes, it is possible that we have the potential to be freed from all the miseries and to have the happiness to the infinity, or the ease to the infinity. This is what the Buddha called as the universal, the Buddha nature, or the hidden treasure. Hidden treasure, for everything that you're seeking, is actually hidden there within us. The next question arises, how to make it come out? It is hidden. How to unravel this hidden treasure? This next question. For that, naturally, on the common sense, people with the common sense will say to remove the dirt when the gold is mixed with the what? With the mud, and you don't see the gold. It's the mud there. And the ordinary people like us may throw this, but the gold experts will not throw this. We'll see that there's a gold there. And how do you know there's gold there? Then what will they say? Remove the mud. Remove the mud, and the gold will come out. As you remove the mud, then the gold inside will start to glow. This is reality. The gold start to glow. So with this, then you realize, oh, there's a gold there. So likewise, our job is to remove the mud of the mental defilements so that the hidden treasure within us will manifest. The next question, how to remove the mental dirt? This next question. For that, we need to apply the remedies. And what remedies apply? It is determined by, for example, like in some cases, ordinary water can be the remedy to overcome the ordinary mud. In some cases, we need a special detergent to remove the grease. And some people, we need the thinner to remove the what? The people who are involved with this work, stains. Like the what? Huh? Pains, yes. People who are into this, they understand what I'm saying. So like me and you, right? Wow, what's thinner? What is thinner? Right? What is thinner? Okay. So the only people, those who work with the paint, they know what thinner is. And maybe for the girls, for this, the nail polish, right? They use something to remove that. Okay. So we need different remedies to remove the different metal defilements. Okay. So next the question is, in this context, with respect to the metal defilements which obscure this hidden treasure, what remedies to apply, that is determined by the nature of the mental defilement. And the nature of the, okay, now I'm going to just, don't think that this is like a tradition. It's not a tradition. I'm trying to give the step-by-step points to take us to the text which we are going to study today. So first we need to have this background. If you don't have this background, I just jump to the text directly, and you may get something, but these all become like scattered. All the pieces scattered there and there, like the piece of the jigsaw puzzle, and finally you don't know what is this. It's just a jigsaw puzzle. So whereas if you know how they all link to each other, then you will see that, wow, this is so precious. It's not about ism. It's about my well-being. And finally, I get to see that there is a system there which the Buddha taught and is so relevant to my well-being. It's not about, it's not about my ism. So if you are a Christian, remain good Christian. Meanwhile, learn, for example, like say you're a Christian or Hindu or Muslim or Jain or Sikh or Buddhist or Jew, or whatever you're following, still we can study quantum mechanics. What's the problem? You remain good Hindu, good Buddhist, or good Muslim, or whatever. And at the same time, you're going to study quantum mechanics. And recently, I just learned that there's a Muslim girl who's teaching physics. Muslim girl, who is teaching physics to the PhD students. Very inspiring. So what's the problem? There's no contradiction. Likewise, what Albert Einstein taught, like for relativity theory, what Niels Bohr taught as in the quantum mechanics, if this doesn't really contradict with your belief system, so in what way it contradicts with your belief system of what the Buddha taught as the hidden treasure, which exists within you and I and everyone. Uncover this, and meanwhile, be in the environment of your family, not disturb your family, don't disturb your family, and just find who you are. Spread your compassion, spread happiness, spread the wisdom. That should be what it should be like. So, with having said this, the Buddha identified that the nature of the mental defilements is all somehow rooted to ignorance. So this, I am, say, doing like a crash course, which otherwise will take like whole 1 week. I'm doing it within say, few minutes. So the Buddha identified that all our miseries somehow they are connected to the ignorance. And the ignorance, particularly ignorance which distorts the reality, which blurs the reality and distorts the reality. These two are slightly different, which blurs the reality. For example, so when you get up in the early morning, your eyes are blurry. You can't see the reality, what is around you so clearly. So that is the ignorance which blurs the reality. Whereas the ignorance which distorts the reality, a dream, they say in the dream, you see the dream ghost as real ghost. It's not like blurry. You see things very vividly, but what you are seeing is a distorted version of the reality. So the Buddha taught that these two levels of ignorance are to be discarded. And these two levels of ignorance, what the Buddha taught, interestingly, the two brothers, the incredible enlightened masters, Arya Sangha and his younger brother, Acharya Vasubandhu, both of them incredibly great contributors as commentators to the Buddhist teachings. And the elder brother, Arya Sangha, he emphasized on the ignorance pertaining to the blurriness, ignorance which blurs the vision of the reality. That is the Arya Sangha's version of ignorance. And the Acharya Vasubandhu, the younger brother, his version of the ignorance is which distorts the reality, where you are seeing things so clearly, but what you are seeing is not the reality. For example, like a dream ghost. It's not a ghost, it's just a dream, but you see it's a real ghost and so vivid. This is a distortion of reality, blurrinesses are not there. So these are two versions of the ignorance, and both contribute to our blurring or to disrupt the wisdom which is the hidden treasure inside wisdom to manifest. So given that ignorance is the one which is responsible for the obscuring the gold of the Buddha nature inside us, so our job is to remove this ignorance. How to remove the ignorance? For example, like, okay, this is very, very important, and this is where sometimes it's a party joke, sometimes it's a reality. That if, say, I want to read a book, and suddenly there's a power cut in the middle of the night, midnight, power cut, and then I pray to Buddha, Buddha, please remove the darkness. I want to sit for the UPSC exam. So when I say UPSC exam, the young ones, I know that tension, arises. I know. Okay, is there anybody who is sitting for the UPS exam preparation? Raise hands. 1, 2. Okay, offline, online. Okay, 2. We have only 2. All right. So they thought that they came to Tushita so that they get a little bit of break from the stress. And suddenly again he said UPSC. Yeah. Okay. So sorry. So the thing, why I said it? Anybody who? Oh, yes. Okay. Someday I had to read the book and Buddha, please remove the darkness. If you Buddha, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, please remove the darkness. And longer the mantra, the better it is. Right? So what? And then even longer, right? Even longer mantra, better. No. If the Buddha is sitting next to you, Buddha will be very unhappy. What a stupid follower. What a stupid follower. Why don't you light a candle? Why don't you light a candle? For example, like, say, you may be thinking that, oh, what is he saying? You know, he's a Buddhist, and now he's talking badly about the Buddha's mantras. And praying to Buddha, he's discouraging. So just, this is not Buddhism. So just see where you can use your common sense, use your common sense. Where you cannot use your common sense, then pray to Buddha. Where you can use the common sense. For example, like if you are thinking of becoming a Nobel laureate in physics, say 2022, I think, 2022, Professor Anton Zelenka, he became a Nobel laureate in physics. Oh, I'm so inspired. He became a Nobel laureate in physics. I also want to become a Nobel laureate in physics. And then you recite the mantra, Om Albert Einstein Hu, Om Albert Einstein Hu, Om Albert Einstein Hu. Recite this mantra for 50 years. How many of you agree with me that you will not, impossible that you become a Nobel laureate in physics? How many agree with me, sense? Impossible. You recite the Albert Einstein mantra for 50 years and you will not become a Nobel laureate in physics. If at all you want to become a Nobel laureate in physics, what should you do? Instead of reciting the mantra, Om Albert Einstein Hu, instead of that, study physics. That will take you closer to obtaining Nobel, bringing Nobel laureate for you, Nobel Prize for you. So with this in mind, the Buddha taught how to get rid of this ignorance. If that is the root of the miseries, how to get rid of this? Get rid of this, and your Buddha nature inside, the hidden treasure inside, will manifest. So how to get rid of the mental defilements? So you have to apply the remedy. Remedy is not just the mantra. So remedy is just as in dark. Instead of you reciting Om Buddha, Om Mani Mani Mahayana, so please Buddha, remove the darkness. I have to read the book, I have to prepare for the UPS exam. Instead of this, if you light a candle, if the Buddha is sitting next to you, Buddha will be very happy. This is a smart follower. This person can really become enlightened. Okay, so just as we know that, just as to remove the darkness, it is only done by introducing light. It is only to introduce the light of the wisdom that the darkness of the ignorance can be eradicated. Let me repeat it. Just as it is the light, introduction to the light, that the darkness can be eradicated, it is only to introduce the light of the wisdom that the darkness of ignorance can be eradicated. So the next question is, what is that wisdom? If the wisdom is to be introduced to remove the darkness of ignorance, which is otherwise responsible for obscuring all the hidden treasure within us. So what is that wisdom? Wisdom, by the very definition, is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. Your next question will be, what's the reality? So the reality is what the Buddha indicated as that everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Everything's like a dream. So this is reality. So with this in mind, once you know the reality, wow, this is amazing. Now the Buddha made it very clear that if you understand the reality, then the wisdom is born in you. With the wisdom, then the ignorance is counteracted. Once the ignorance is counteracted, the mental defilements are gone. Then the goals like Buddha nature becomes manifest. That manifests in the form of your experience of fearlessness and infinite happiness, which is what we are all seeking. So that is thing. That is what we are seeking. Everybody is seeking that. Okay. So with this, we got a broad, say, the outline of the how we can possibly extract meaning out of our existence, our being. So next question is, okay, now they understand that there is the wisdom. And this wisdom is, for example, like it is, say, it's like, let's say that the wisdom is like, for a car to take you to the desired goal. A car should have two things. Of course, there are multiple things. By the way, I don't know how to drive a car. And then but for the car, we require two things. One is that the steering is very important. And the other one, okay, is there anybody who would tell me why the steering is very important? Why? Anyone? Offline? The Sanjayji. For controlling car, to make sure that you are not thrown out of the car. So you can you don't have to hold the car handle, you have to. Yes, right. Okay. Alignment, right. So this is Dharamsala, to His Holiness's place. And then we properly aligned. And then you go to south. The Dharamsala is north. You're supposed to go into, so what's your name? Shilpi. So Shilpi said, okay, so steering is for alignment, I keep a good alignment, right? And go to south. It will not take you the air. And hold it well, right? For holding you can the other handles. Steering is not required, right? So that is for the direction. So where you're going, so I should be going to the north. Then they make sure that the steering takes you in the north, to the north. But if the fuel is empty, fuel tank is empty, no matter how much you do this, it will not take you there. You agree? Offline, online, both you agree? Okay. So we require two things. One is the steering, which makes sure that if the car is moving in the correct direction. And then we also require the fuel to make sure that it moves. It moves. Whereas if the steering is missing, the fuel is there, it can take us to the wrong direction. And even if the steering is there, if the fuel is empty, it's just like a joke. Sit in the car and they move like this. What are you doing? It's wasting of time. So we require these two things. Likewise, say the wisdom that we're talking about is just so precious. Let's not forget it. It's so precious. The wisdom. Finally, the only hope lies, for example, like how many of you, offline, online, both, how many of you have shed tears in your life? Yes, shed tears. So painful tears, not the joyful tears. Painful tears. Okay, all, both offline, online. I can see that. So this is very, very painful, extremely painful. So painful. The pains that we think of is extremely painful. So if you really want to stop this pain, you have to stop the root of the pain. You have to stop the root of the pain. If you don't stop the root of the pain, it can all become like a symptomatic treatment. For example, like how many years ago? 2009. How many years ago? 14 years ago. 16 years ago. 16 years ago, what happened was that I started to have pain. I started to have pain to the left ribs. There was a pain. And I thought that this is okay. Sometimes anybody can have pain anywhere. And then I took the paracetamol. And the pain is over for like 2 hours, 3 hours. Again, the pain comes back. Again, I took the paracetamol. When it's unbearable, I took the paracetamol. Again, the pain goes away. Okay, so we have a doctor here. Dr. Pamela, tell me, what's the problem? What wrong did I do? I was taking the paracetamol to remove the problem. So why it's not going away? Dr. Pamela, Mike.
Geshe-la, you are just using symptomatic treatment only, but you should find out the cause for these symptoms actually.
Okay, so what Dr. Pamela is saying is that what you have been doing, Dorji, what you've been doing is just you're going for a symptomatic treatment, a surface treatment, not the deep, not treating the problem from the root. So we have to identify, if you don't want to have this the problem for good, then you have to identify the root. Identify the root and remove the root, only then the problems will be over. Till that point, no matter how much you take the paracetamol, and it'll just be a symptomatic treatment that you will have, you will be relieved for like 1 or 2 hours, and again the pain will come back. Okay, how many agree with Dr. Pamela Resens? Offline, online, very good. Okay, so for that we need to make sure that there is the proper treatment. So, which means that the treatment should not be just on the surface. Treatment should be from the root. To cut the root, there is the wisdom which will help us to cut the root. So the wisdom is so extremely precious. And paracetamol, it works magic for the next 2 hours. It most, I would say it works magic. But later, that it was diagnosed, I was diagnosed as suffering from tuberculosis. And for tuberculosis, we have the common antibiotics, isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol. So we have to take these antibiotics, and there can be more. So we have to take this one. Take these antibiotics, they will not relieve you within 1 day, 2 days. But paracetamol will immediately give you immediate relief for the next 1 or 2 days. But this immediate relief is not the real relief. And the ones which give you the real relief, isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol, they will not give you immediate relief. They will give you lasting relief, but not immediate. So these are distinctions that we need to be able to make. With this in mind, that the wisdom, which employment of which can truly eradicate the root of the miseries, that all the tears, or painful tears, will be stopped completely. So for that, it'll take time. It's a long-term solution. It takes time. Yet this is the only way. This is the only way. So why the Buddha was not happy with the first 2 teachers was because he did not get this emptiness from the 2 teachers. As simple as that. The moment he got this wisdom, then he was happy. He started meditating on this to see the efficacy of this wisdom. And then finally, he experienced what is known as Sugadahood. So, Sugadahood is the state where one experiences the perfect bliss of the purity of mental defilements, where you experience, you don't have to crave for any external things. We don't have to crave for, we don't crave for any external things for your happiness. Instead, you see that the truth of happiness inside is awakened. So our dependency on external reality, external things stop our being vulnerable to the external, our vulnerability to external factors stop. That's a liberation. You're liberated from having to depend on any other things. So that is a liberation. Absolute liberation, which the Buddha indicated as transcending sorrow, is absolute peace. Okay, so this is what the Buddha indicated as the ultimate solution to the problems. The next says, okay, that's good, but it'll take time. Yes, for example, say that let's say that I want to acquire the Shakespearean English. I want to acquire the Shakespearean English. And they say, my English is 0. I don't know anything. I want to learn. I want to acquire the Shakespearean English. And then somebody says that, okay, let's say our friend Tejala says, Geshe-la, if you want to learn Shakespearean English, you have to learn ABCD. ABCD, is it Shakespearean English? Everybody knows, right? This is not Shakespearean. No, I don't want to learn ABC. I want to learn Shakespearean English. So what will Tejala say? Whether you like it, this is the only way. You have to learn it. This is the only way. So these are steps. How many agree with me, Resents? How many agree with not me, with Tejala? Resents that if you want to learn Shakespearean English, This is the only way, whether you like it or not, you have to learn A, B, C, T, right? A for apple, B for ball. You have to learn this, presents. This is the only way. So likewise, to really cultivate this wisdom, what should we do? It's not like just jump to wisdom, because that our ignorance is a chronic disease within us. It's a chronic disease. So therefore, to get rid of this, the Buddha taught that there are various levels of ignorance. For example, like a solid garlic, somebody smashes the, okay, let's say this is my mug. Somebody smashes garlic in my mug and say, I don't take garlic. I said, okay, I don't take it. So somebody smashes garlic, who's that? And you may own up saying, I'm very sorry, I did it. And they took the mug, removed the solid garlic, washed it so well under running water, and now it's so clean. There's no, you just put your fingers in, you never see any garlic there. You smell it, it still smells garlic. So therefore, the thing is that the ignorance that we have, it has many layers, solid ignorance and smell of the ignorance. All these things are there. So for that matter, the Buddha taught that this ignorance, to get rid of this ignorance, the wisdom to be cultivated is very profound. So keep in mind that the Buddha, after becoming enlightened, Buddha did not straight away start to teach this, straight away started to give teachings. He remained silent for 49 days. And the reason why the Buddha remained silent for 49 days is to tell the world that the Buddha himself said, in English, that the profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-light, and non-composite, such is the nectar of the Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I will return words. So, with this, Buddha remained silent for 49 days. And then finally, Indra and Brahma, they made the request, and the Buddha assented to the request, and they straight away went to Varanasi and gave the first sermon. Okay, so where this sermon, that the Buddha, in short, what the Buddha taught is that this ignorance is so deeply rooted that we have to say, to test the depth, you have to first remove the top layers. Ignorance, it has many layers. So, particularly Buddha identified 4 layers of ignorance. The first, misconceiving impermanent phenomena as permanent. Ignorance which misconceives impermanent phenomena as permanent. Ignorance which misconceives the impure things as pure. Ignorance which misconceives miseries as happiness. And finally, ignorance which misconceives what is subjective as objectively real, like what is dreamlike nature as objectively real. So, to remove the deepest of the ignorance, which misconceives things as objectively real, so the Buddha taught that we have to get rid of the grosser levels of ignorance. So, what we are studying now, the text, which is not that difficult, but I'm going to quickly read this, and I'll explain where necessary. We see that this is in relation to getting rid of these levels of ignorance, because they say the one thing that we also need to know here, particularly given that there are many of us from the Nalanda studies. So therefore, I also would not hesitate to jump into the technicalities. So for this, we see that what kind of miseries we go through. We talk about 3 kinds of miseries. And yes, there's a very standard way of presenting what these 3 kinds of miseries are. The first one is the immediate miseries, which everybody identifies as miseries, and which is so immediate that nobody wants to go through. For example, like the simplest things, like you're missing your mom, dad, or your near and dear ones, with the worst of things, like losing your life, or losing the life of someone who you love so much, acute, painful. And sometimes even worse can be thought of. Worst, for example, like in wars, how many people, they lose their life and they lose their near dear ones, acute painful. And then, for example, the poor chickens in the KFCs, and we see we say, okay, I like KFC. What is KFC? It's where the poor chickens, they lose their life. It's extremely painful to think of that. And so we need to think of these things, these pains, manifest pains, they're acutely painful. And then so where we think that we feel ourselves as independent from the evident pains which others are going through, just unbelievably painful things. For example, like the animals in the slaughterhouse, and then the victims in the hands of the terrorists, and so forth. The pain is just traumatizing, and we feel ourselves as separate from them. Whereas if you can truly imagine that one day I can be in that place, one day, we never know. Who drives us? For example, like you, each one of us here in this group. So let me tell you, 5 years ago, how many of you had the feeling that 2025, in the month of October, 7th, 6th of October, I will in Tushita. How many have that thought? Raise hands. Or those online, okay, 2025, October 6th, and I'll be listening to the talk organized by Tushita Center. Raise hands. How many of you had that idea 5 years ago? How many of you had that idea 5 years ago? Shauli, you had that idea? That's amazing. And Shauli from online? From online, yes, that's amazing. Otherwise, I did not have the idea that one day, the 2025, October 6th, I will end up in the Tushita, Delhi, and give a talk. I never had that idea. And Tushita already knew that I was coming. Yeah, Shauli, not Tushita, Shauli already knew that I was coming to Tushita. Okay, so what I'm saying is that, then how come that you end up here? We didn't know that we were going to end up here. Now how come that we are here? It's all driven by your karma. And what is karma? This is not something to be just like seen as esoteric phenomena, something airy, something ghostly. No, this is purely your own action. Your own action driven by your intention. So if this is the case, then what the future is going to be like is all karma. What kind of karmas we have? There are trillions of karma for us to end up into KFC kitchen. Yes, we are creating that ourselves now. You go to the KFC and then you enjoy the chicken. So you are actually creating karma to enter yourself into the KFC kitchen. We're creating karmas. So just think of that. Those people who can think of these things, then they see that samsara is very, very scary. Very scary. Like what? The one metaphor that I can give you is, like, imagine the Amazon forest. In the Amazon forest, what kind of wildlife are there? Deers are there. And I don't know about the lions, but tigers, leopards, and these hyenas, they were there. They were all freely roaming. Not that there's one slot only for the deers, one slot only for the hyenas, only for the foxes, wolves, tigers. I don't know about the tiger, but the leopards may be there. There's no such division there. There's no such division there. It's just free everywhere. It's just huge space, but everybody is moving freely, which means that, say, just imagine that you are in the middle of that forest. And would you be happy that, oh, I'm in the forest? No, anytime these hyenas, they can come in like 20, pack of 20, can eat you up. If this is a situation that is scary, this is exactly where we are now, samsara, place where so we can end up in any of these places, any of these, the dens of the lion dens. We can end up in these places anytime, very, very scary. Those people who can think of these, they are more evolved beings. Whereas those of us, no, oh yeah, what he said is true. But if these feelings not coming, which means that it remains on the intellectual level. So it doesn't mean that you are the evolved beings. Yes, we are unevolved, but we can become evolved. We also have to go to nature. How to become evolved? How to become evolved? Think of these more. Reality. So why these poor chickens, they are born as chicken now? Why I was born as a human being is purely out of one of the karmas, positive karmas of the past, manifested, and then I'm taken birth as a human being. And another person taken birth as the poor chicken in the KFC because of the karma. And then my next karma can be to take birth in the KFC. So we never know. Think about this is very, very scary. Okay, so with this in mind, now it is very important for us that this life to manifest the wisdom of emptiness. It takes time. It's not that easy. So how to make it so efficient to make sure that I get hold of this wisdom, continuously practice this, and continuously remove the mental dirt, and then you manifest the Buddha nature. How to make it happen? So for this, we have to make sure that I'm not being carried away by the other thoughts. For example, like, oh, today is what? Today I feel very tired. Today is what? Monday. Monday people are a little dumpy. And then the Friday evening, people are very, the happy face, smiling face. Saturday very good. And Sunday evening become a little grumpy again. Then Monday morning very, very grumpy. So this is how we are. So we see that, okay, Friday is so beautiful. For the Buddha, there's one anecdote where 100 people went for a picnic, and the picnic along the river bank. And out of the 100, 2 or 3 people, what they were doing was they could see the pattern of the river slightly different from the usual pattern. So with this, they could sense a danger. So they were trying to cross the river. And the remaining 97 people, they said, what are you doing? We're trying to cross the river. What for? So this pattern of the river, it doesn't look of the auspicious. It's very dangerous. It's a bad omen, and then it can be very dangerous. So we try to cross. And the remaining 97 says that you are spoiling our picnic. If you want to cross. Don't disturb us. And 97 of them continue with their picnic, and the remaining 3, they were struggling to cross it. They crossed, and within a span of 1 hour, it was flooded, and all 93 people were killed. So this is a metaphor. 97 majority of the people, 98% of the beings, they are like small children. They cannot see the long term, the bigger picture in space and in time. Whereas only like 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 with 100, from 100, 2 or 3 people can have that vision to see the bigger picture in space and time, and then prepare accordingly. So who are these people? Each one of us can be like these 3 people. You think more about it, and then gradually you start to see that, yes, that's very true. We are in a forest where all the wildlife, they are moving around freely. The carnivorous, the animals, wildlife are also freely moving, and we also move freely. Anytime we can become the food of these animals, very scary. So this is exactly samsara. You see like this, and these people will not they waste their time saying that, okay, now it's Sunday, I like to have a holiday. They'll not waste their time. They'll make sure that this short life is used very productively. So how to get this sense of urgency, to make sure that we don't lose the life, to make sure that the wisdom of emptiness, which is the only liberating path, is effectively being practiced, and then mental defilements are effectively being removed, and your Buddha nature for good is manifested. So with this in mind, and the teaching on the Buddha's teaching on impermanence, to counteract the ignorance of misperceiving impermanent phenomena as permanent, and the Buddha's teaching on the suffering nature of the contaminant things, where the ordinary people, they are being intoxicated by the suffering change, and not preparing ourselves to get away from samsara. So to counteract these two, this great teacher, Pabongka Rinpoche, he taught this very beautiful poem in Tibetan and translated by Lama Zopa Rinpoche and his student. And this is, if we contemplate on this and we see that we try to correlate this with the real life, a real life experience, and then the more we think about these things, your mind will feel little, some kind of sorrow inside. When you feel that, you will start to feel a sense of the urgency to get away from samsara. That is very, very precious. And then you will try to look for what is the wisdom and truth. It's the only liberating path to enlightenment. Okay, with this mind, let me read this. The heart spoon, the encouragement through recollecting impermanence, particularly impermanence of death, so that one day, each one of us, there will be a time that we have to leave the world. Yes. In fact, they say, yes, I've seen with my own life, I've seen yes, I lost my mom when I was 5 years old, and then when I was in my 30s, I lost my father. Likewise, I lost many of my near dear ones. And this not only just me, everybody has very sad stories, whether you're a king, queen, prime minister, president, whatever. Everybody has a story. We share very, very sad stories. And one day somebody will tell a story about you. Each one of us. Each one of us. Oh, once upon a time, there's this man by the name something Dorji something, director of Tibet House, and now he's no more. And then even the stories also disappear one day. This impermanence. So where we don't think about these, then we're not prepared. Like the 97 people who were busy with the picnic, they're not prepared to escape from the flood. So this flood is the impermanence of death. And these three people who put effort to escape from the flood, these are wise people. So their life is being spared. So with this mind, as I contemplate more in these will help us. So meanwhile, I would say that if possible, we need to have something to save. One is intellectual growth, and then number two is the implementation of practice. These two should go hand in hand, and they should hand in hand, meaning that where there's a practice happening, also the intellectual growth should keep growing, so that practice goes deeper. Otherwise, particularly I would say that finally of this, the contemplating on the text, which is beautifully composed by Pabongka Rinpoche, after contemplating on this, then what should I be doing? Now I have a sense of the urgency. What should I be doing? That how to exit, get out of samsara. How to get out of samsara? Only the wisdom. So if you don't have the wisdom, then number one, if you don't have the wisdom, and number two, even the sense of urgency. There are different levels of urgency. For example, like say the mobile, there are different versions of mobile. Laptop, there are different versions of laptop. How many agree with me? Recent. Some laptops can be as cheap as 2,000 rupees. Some can be like 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs. Some mobiles can be, some people call it dinosaur mobile, 1,000, 2,000 rupees. And some mobile, even the cable will cost you 2,000, 3,000 rupees. Mobile would cost you lakhs rupees. So there's a huge variation. Likewise, even the sense of urgency, there are variations there. Some extremely profound sense of urgency where you don't end up in depression. Whereas some, with the sense of urgency, you end up in depression because your mind cannot contain it, and you end up in depression because the fear of samsara is so scary that you end up in depression. But for some people, where the learning is so fast, they know how to contain the sense of urgency. There's a great sense of urgency, yet they don't enter into depression. So these are things that we need to be mindful of. Okay, so with this, I'm going to read the text. The her, the Tibetan one is Kemakihu, Kemakihu meaning that, say, very painful, very painful. This is reality of samsara, very painful. Kind Lama, look to this pitiful one. So this is a style of start the composition of the Tibetan masters. I did not really see this amongst the Indian masters, past Indian masters. Among the Tibetan masters, there's a very different trend. Indian masters and the Tibetan masters. Indian masters, because they have to survive. They have to survive in the tradition where there are so many, say, the competitors of the traditions, like the Buddhists, within Buddhisms, the Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, Chittamatra, Madhyamaka, they have to compete amongst themselves. And the outsiders like the Mamansaka, Samkhya, Vedanta, Vaisheshe, Nyaya, the Jainit, Charvaka, and all these traditions were there. They have to survive by competing amongst each other. So that style of the practice of Dharma is one, and in Tibet is predominantly like 90%, 97% is Buddhist. So there's no competition. So you can just follow by the yes, so sir, whatever you say is correct. You know, this is the trend. So therefore, there the devotion to the Guru becomes something so unique, and that your Guru is seen as they're like the Buddha, and then you yourself deliberately, in order to curb the negative emotions like anger, ego, and so forth, the authors, they describe themselves as something extremely vulgar, bad, or backward, or like something so immature, like a crazy, mad person. Like, so these are all the descriptions of self in order to counteract our Ramela. Sasha. So with this in mind, these are discussions in order to tackle our arrogance, ego, anger, and so forth. So the great teachers, they deliberately describe themselves as the pitiful one. So here it says, kind Lama, look at this pitiful one, meaning yourself. Pitiful one, how I behave and how I have, instead of cheated, we can say I have deceived myself of my entire life. Meaning that, okay, look, to a great extent, what the author is saying here holds true to us, each one of us. Because how many of you are in they're less than 20 years? Younger than 20 years, present? Anybody? Younger than 20 years? Okay, how old are you? 19, okay. Anyone who is below the 40 presents? 39 and below presents? Okay. So you have these number of years of experience. 40 below many, you have your 20 years, 30 years, 40 years experience. So like my generation, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years experience. There's many years of experience, and just see what the author is saying holds true, that I have deceived myself. Deceive meaning that you deliberately deceive somebody. How? How do you deceive somebody? That the person could do something so good, and you deceive the person, so the person cannot do good. This is deception. So this is how we've deceived ourselves, our life. Otherwise, oftentimes people, what they do is that, okay, how many of you had the experience yourself, or you have seen other people doing the same thing? Oh, how I wish I've not wasted my school days. How I wish I did not waste my 3 years undergrad. Right? If I've put a little more effort instead of going to the pubs, instead of going to nightclubs, if I put a little bit of 3 years is nothing. If I put a little effort, but now I've been an IAS officer, right? But now, okay. So how many you have? Okay, now I'm not asking how many you had this experience. I was how many you heard somebody saying this? Presents? Yes. Okay. So this meaning deceiving you ourselves. So in our own ways, we have been deceiving ourselves. In other words, that we are not using the time productively. So continue reading this. How I behave and how I have, instead of cheat is a very different meaning. I've deceived myself my entire life. Please look about this mindless one. Look, the author is deliberately describing himself mindless, crazy, useless person, and so forth, in order to what? In order to tackle your destructive emotions like ego, anger, and so forth. Look upon this mindless one with compassion. Essential advice to give yourself, to give myself. In the Tibetan is yourself, meaning myself. To essential advice to be given to myself heart spoon. Keep it deep within your heart. Don't be distracted. Don't be distracted. Meaning that our life, let us not be distracted. For example, today, there are so many distractions. So many distractions. For example, the phone. Our younger ones, particularly if the family is, say, the like middle average, averagely financially average, then the children, they have their own space, room. The moment they have their own room, they spend whole days, nights in the room. They lock the door, and they come out of the food, then they get into the room, and lock the door, and even the parents cannot have access to the children. And the children, what they're doing, they're just going after the Snapchat, Instagram, Reels, right? Facebook, like this, and then there are some things, if you cannot watch it within 24 hours, it disappear. And if you know that, it's still, right? So if you don't get it, you're going to miss a lot. You and your decision will all be missed. So you have to make sure that it's not missed. You have to watch it. And finally, at the end of the day, white hairs will start coming up from here and there. And then you say, what did I do, right? So nothing is, only garbage is filled. You're getting it? These are things that we need to think of. These are things. For example, one time, there was the teacher's trainer, and she asked if I can give one session to her students. They're all to be trained as teachers. And then what I said is that from today onwards, for the 1 week, let us try one thing. Try to just stay away from the gossip. Stay away from gossip. This is what I said. This is going to be our exercise. 1 week, no gossip. Just try to talk only sensible, meaningful things for you and for others. All the gossip just stop. And then after 1 week, the teacher who was training the others, she said that, Geshe, the students are saying that if you don't gossip, there's nothing to discuss. I said, wow, this is amazing discovery. This amazing discovery. Now you have discovered, the students have discovered that your brain is empty of good information. It's only filled with the garbage. Now you are taking out the garbage. You discovered that it's empty. Now is the time you have removed the garbage. Now our job is to fill that with the good information. Read good materials rather than real and these things. Instead of that, read the good materials. Good, that's amazing. During my time, say I used to, for example, like, okay, by the way, my classmate is here. Ajay Dhumasamdra is here, his hand online, present, my classmate. Okay, so there, say, for example, we need information, something related to our studies. We have to go to the library. And in the library, how to get information? We have no idea. So this is a situation. But nowadays, if the whole world library is in your mobile, it's amazing. It's amazing. So in my 30s, when I was translating for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I have to keep a separate, what is that? Like a calculator. It's not a calculator. It's the machine for it's a dictionary, electronic dictionary. I have to keep a separate electronic dictionary. That too, I have to buy. It's very expensive. I have to buy it, and then along with all the other things, I have to carry. This is a very bulky one. I have to carry this, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So now everything is in a mobile. Everything. It's the sound, the voice, and the references. Everything comes from this amazing library that we have. Now, if we don't use this productively, that's very sad. So instead, if we waste it, then we see, believe it or not, time just flies. Time flies. And the first time I came to Delhi, so the place where I was put in the staff quarter, so down on the ground, they used a small, not a playground, like a small garden, but the children, they play there, small children, small kids. age 4 or 5. Then every day I get down, and in evenings I climbed up, and it was like dusk. I was climbing up, and then I noticed that there are big guys there in the same small place playing football. I thought, what is it? This is for small kids, not for the big ones. Why these big ones, these big people? What are they doing here? And then a second thought just came innately or spontaneously. A second thought came. This must be who are these people, buddy? Who are these? I looked at them very carefully. I discovered that they were once upon a time, very small boys. It says, so like few days, time flies. It's not just to me, to all of us, it'll happen. So therefore, if you waste a time like this, going after the Snapchats and these things, and not going after the meaningful things, will truly, truly regret. So therefore, it says that don't be distracted. Don't be distracted. I'm reading the text. Reflect upon the state of your life from the essential drop at heart. So, as meaning the essential drop means this is a core. So who you are from the point of view of the various the presentations of the Buddhist, the explanation of what the self is from the various traditions. We see that is at the heart. So this is where, in a way, it is partly it's like metaphorical, and greatly it is from the deepest of the explanation of the Buddhist thoughts. It is the place where you truly manifest your real identity, manifests from what is known as the clear light mind at the heart. Since beginningless cyclic existence, which has not ended up in now, so in other words, since beginningless time till today, though you have experienced countless cycles of rebirths, you have been the birth, death, it's like this. Just so many variations on happiness and pain, and we go through happiness, pain, tears, sometimes laughter, again tears, laughter, and so forth. You have achieved not the slightest of benefit from that. So finally, say, okay, here the author is talking about the many lifetimes in the past, and we just think of our lifetime. Say, I'm in my 50s, think of the last 50 years, and the younger ones think of the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Think of that, and today tell me, what have you achieved out of that, which will make you confident that, okay, I'm prepared for my next life from what we have done, what I've done the last 20 years, 30 years. Think of that. We see that it's nothing there, particularly with the gadgets. If you did not really use it productively, we see that we have really not done anything. What is left? It's just garbage in your mind. This is reality. Garbage, anger, and ignorance, and afflictions, and the divisions between I and you, and so forth, and in the conflicts in the family, and then your father and your uncle, two brothers once upon a time as one family, now divided, fighting over the properties, your mother and your aunt, your mother and your uncle, your father and your aunt. The fights happening. This is very, very. So finally, when you leave the world, what do you carry? What do you carry with all these efforts? Nothing, is zero. So it says that you have achieved not the slightest of benefit from them, and though at present you have attained leisure and fortune, so difficult to find that we have obtained this precious human birth. This, believe it or not, this human birth that you obtained, if you study emptiness, you will get some understanding of emptiness. If you practice bodhicitta, you will get some experience of the universal compassion. This is what is bound to happen. What is bound to happen? If you don't believe, say, those people who already have friends, who are being very consistent with the Dharma studies and practice, see how much they have grown, how much they have matured. And then, okay, and then you will feel that if I put the same effort, in fact, when we began, I'm better than that person. Now that person far ahead of me. You're getting it? So, what happened was that 2000, let's say 2000, let's say 2007, how many years ago? 18 years ago. 18 years ago, say, there were two girls from Russia. One was 19, one was 21. Two girls came to me. It was 18 years ago. Then what happened was that of the two, the one who was 21 years old then, she's extremely intelligent, and whatever I teach about MT and so forth, she could grab so fast. Younger one is slower. And now 18 years lapse. With the 18 years, the elder one, who's otherwise extremely intelligent, who can grab things so fast, and not only fast, also could see the nuances, that just took a break. And the younger one being very consistent. Today, the younger and the older, if they are to meet, the younger one is the teacher of the older one. Today. So this is where you will realize that, oh, if I've been consistent the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but now I should have been much, much better than even this person, who now I consider as something so good. So this is where it's the indication that we have wasted our time. And though at present you have attained leisure and fortune, so difficult to find, always till now they've finished and been lost, have been empty and without meaning. Now, if you care about yourself, the time has come to practice the essence of future happiness, the virtuous actions. It's time for us to practice the virtues. So, what virtues to practice? What virtue practice? I would say that the one thing that the first thing that I may suggest is that, particularly the younger ones, I would say that not only younger ones, everyone, including those of my age, that if possible, try to look for very systematic studies. Systematic studies where you will become independent of your thinking. That, okay, this is how things work. This is how my mind works. Grosser level, subtle level, how the mind works. And as I die, then next journey, next life. My life is, they say, next life means that this life, next life will be connected by the death. The death. So which means at the time of death, the mind becomes subtler and I lose control over my mind. And then again, this mind manifests in the form of next life. So there's the transition there, the death. So with this, my mind becomes subtler. So am I prepared with this subtle mind? Do I know what the subtle mind is? So for this, we need to know these things, study these things extensively. There is not a waste of time. I'm not just talking to you, I'm telling myself also that, say, in the pretext of me being taking care of Tibet house and then giving retreats everywhere in different places, I may look for excuses, saying, okay, I'm trying my best to be of service to Dharma. No, when I die, I have to die on my own. Nobody will come with me. Oh, Geshe-la, you helped us and now we will assist you when you die. No, I have to go on my own, alone. So there, so what decides my own, what are the virtues that I gained? So this is best. Keep some systematic studies always with you. Always with you. Don't be extremely diligent. If it's naturally happening, very good. Otherwise, don't force yourself to be too diligent, but make sure that you always have the systematic study as a part. For example, like say, half an hour of systematic, not necessarily every day, at least the systematic study as a part of your program. So this is so important. This will make sure that to keep you reminded that you have your life is very meaningful. Don't waste your life. Constantly a reminder will come to us. Otherwise, sometimes we become extremely tense after study, and then suddenly you drop everything. It's very dangerous. So this is one thing. The next thing is try your best. Try your best to engage in virtues. Help others. Try your best. In whatever capacity you can help others, and try your best not to offend others, not to disturb others, not to harm others. This is the benchmark. So meanwhile, how do we deal with the real life? Real life is very complicated. If you're not being competitive, others will treat you like a doormat. So how do you behave? So under such situation, where such situations there, you have to discuss with your teachers, your more senior students, your friends, and so forth. You have to discuss these things. These are the exceptions are there. We need to learn how to manage these things. Otherwise, overall speaking, as the students always says, they try their best to offer benefit to others, and they will say, at least don't harm others. This much we can do. At least you will build up the tendency in your mind and they not accumulate negative karmas, which otherwise will attract miseries to us in the future lifetimes. Okay, so the best would be always associate with yourself with the good friends. Sangam sharanam gacchami. Sangam, it doesn't mean that I'll always be friends with the Buddhist monks and nuns. There's not a connotation. Always be friends with good people. People, for example, like one person that I truly admire is Ratan Tata. Ratan Tata, I don't admire for his wealth, but how he uses wealth, how he takes care, how he took care of the people, the animals, and so forth. It's amazing. Extremely humble. No ego. These are the inspirations we learn from. So, Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. People who are into this direction, who always, for example, like here, we have Professor Renujika is an amazing example. The last 35 years took care of this institute, and we have the Nicola, who I met the first time, and because of his way he travels, I said that he spreads a wave of Dharma wherever he travels. When I said it, I meant it. Because that he was the one who connected me to Cultural Center in France from there every year. So that program was happening. Many people in France who are associated with the center, they started to, become more associated with the deeper side of the Dharma. So likewise, now coming to Tushita, again, he's taking responsibility and many people will connected. So likewise, we say, for example, like Ajirji, great inspiration, incredibly great inspiration. And like Georgie, again, a great inspiration. And then always Professor Navinji, he likes to always call himself Navin, not Professor. Right, always remaining very low key, and not letting others know that he's a professor. Right. So these are actually a great inspiration. Great inspiration. So we need to learn from these people. So, in other words, what I'm saying is Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. Always be with good companions. Good companions, this will be a constant reminder for us. It's very easy. You keep a good companions who are, what do you mean by good companion? People who make sure that they're continuously growing. They continue growing, putting effort in continuous growth. And how do you know that this person continues growing? That there should be systematic studies. Systematic studies will constantly remind the individual that you have something important to do. So meanwhile, actually doing something. For example, like being of service, volunteering some centers. For example, like the Gagan I've been saying him oftentimes here in Tushita. So likewise, we see that some of the volunteers, they're helping. So like that, with some service to this, that way your mind will be more and more connected with the sources of the wisdom. Okay, so it says that always till now they have finished and been lost, have been empty without meaning. Now if you care about yourself, the time has come to practice the essence of future happiness, virtuous actions. You appear so capable, smart, and clever. So now, let's say the author is scolding himself. This is a style that we need to learn how to maintain. How to maintain humility, and to maintain the very humble state. Meanwhile, when it comes to the actual point where you have to really present yourself in service of Dharma, become very courageous and become forthright. Otherwise, for your personal matters, keep a very low profile. So it says that you appear so capable, scolding yourself, saying that with respect to the mundane life, you seem so capable, smart, and clever, but you're a fool. Fool meaning, what is a fool? Somebody who cannot plan for the future. who only thinks about today. These are the fool. It's not smart. And you think that you're smart, but you're a fool. You don't plan for the future. As long as you cling to the child's play of the appearance of this life. So this life, what this life? Just be engrossed with this. The money, the power, the immediate, the gratification, like pubs and dance, drugs, and so forth. This is like small child's game, the play of what appearances involved coming to you, and you're just intoxicated by this. This is small child. Suddenly you are overwhelmed by the fearful lot of death. And then time comes that already, okay, today I see many of you having black hairs. Let me see the same photograph after 10 years. When I first came to Tibet House, like 16 years ago, my hair was completely black. Now all the white hairs popping here and there. You're getting it? So this exactly happened to us, the young people who are looking at my hair now. After 10 years, you're going to have to compare your photographs. You will see that your hair is different. You're getting it? Okay, this is impermanence. We need to remember that. But as a mind, wise people will not be intoxicated by the immediate gratifications. Unwise people will get intoxicated by the immediate gratification. Okay. As long as you cling to the child's play of the appearances of this life, suddenly you are overwhelmed by the fearful lot of death. And yes, even if some people, they die so young. So the great Tibetan teachers, they said that in some cases, don't think that I'm young and he's very old, she's very old, I'm very young, I've another 50 years, 60 years. This can be a wrong plan, wrong calculation. Because it says that there are times where the parents have to do the last funeral rites of the children. So these are the very powerful message for us. In other words, the message is not to demoralize us, but to make sure that we become wise to plan for the future. Okay, so it says, and without hope or means to endure, there's nothing you can do. This is going to happen to you. The next, because you think, I'm not going to die for some time. Okay. How many of us today, we came here with a plan for tomorrow? Makes sense? With a plan for, tomorrow I'll do this, today I'll go to Tushita, tomorrow I have this, maybe Tushita have this, and when is the next plan? Tushita, when is the next thing happening? Tell me, right? So which means that I'm not going to die today. I'm not going to die for some time, not today. So, which is, you will not say this, but how we behave, these are the clear proof that we have a feeling that I'm not going to die today. I'm not going to die for some time. While you are distracted by the never-ending activities of this life, suddenly the fearful lot of death arrives. And how many of you think that 30 years is very old? Raise your hands. 30 years is very old. Raise your hands. Those who are in 30s, you will not feel that. Those in 20s will feel that. Okay, 40 years is very old. Those who are in 20s and 30s, they think that 40 is very old. 50 years, half a century gone. Half a century gone. You're getting it? Okay, young ones, this girl, tell me, 50 years, very old or young? Be very honest. Very old. You're getting it? And those in 50s, like my age, tell me, you think you're old or okay, you're young? Not bad, I'm young. Right? This girl, when she becomes 50, she will say the same thing. 50 is what's problem. 50 is young. You will feel that. You're getting it? This is all relative. So this is self-deception. You're getting it? This is self-deception. So when I was 12, I discovered the age of a boy in the school. When I was 12, I discovered the age of a boy in the school whose age was 16. Very old. 16. Very old, right? And then I became 16. Then I discovered the age of one of the teachers who was 33 years old. Now ready to die. 30 years. I will also want to become one like this because he also went as a school. He also went to school And then the school finished, college and teacher, I will also go like this. One day I'll become like this. And then gradually I became 30s. And 30 is still young. And then I finished my Geshe degree. Then I was sent to England, Cambridge, to study English. And then my host, there's a group of people who hosted my visit to study there. And one of them, just 2 days ago, he celebrated his 50th birth, a professor who celebrated his 50th birth anniversary, 50th birth. And then he told me so proudly, he said that 2 days ago, before you came, we celebrated my 50th. And then deep inside me, what's going in my mind? What's there to celebrate? It's insult. 50 is half a century gone. This insult telling me that you're old, now you're going to die. Then I became 50s. So when I hit my 50s, I couldn't believe it. It was quite a strong jerk that, okay. But then I discovered once I was invited for a lunch by one of the vice chancellors of university. And he also invited the senior professor, lady professor. I must have told the professor that the new director of Tibet House, and that lady knew my predecessor. And she was expecting a gray hair old man coming. And I came up, and she looked at me like this. She scanned my body from top to like this. And she's a young director. You getting it? She said 3 times. And then suddenly she got a thought that a young director means it has a bad connotation also, inexperienced director. You getting it? So she's, no, I meant young in age. Okay. So this is all relative. This is all relative, but we should be careful. Because when you are 60s, you will see somebody who's 70s. Very old, I'm young. When you're 70s, you will still see somebody who's 80. Oh, I'm young. This 80 is old. You getting it? This is how we deceive ourselves. Let us not fall prey to our own deceptions. You getting it? Okay. While you're distracted by the never-ending activities of this life, suddenly the fearful Lord of Death arrives, announcing, now it's time to die. This is going to happen to you. Though you make arrangements saying tomorrow, or tomorrow I'll do Dharma, tomorrow I'll do the Dharma, just and suddenly you have to go. This is going to happen to you. Without choice, leaving behind in disarray, you're left off work, left food to drink, you have to depart. This is going to happen to you. There's no time other than today to spread your bedding and go off. So people have plans and plans, years plan, and you will go to bed, and tomorrow you cannot get up. Finish. Okay. So there is no time other than today to spread your bedding. And then you are not unaware that this is your last day and go off to sleep. Upon your last bed, you fall like an old tree, and others are unable to turn you with their lily soft hands, tuck your clothes and blanket. So in Tibetan, it says that then say you're grabbing at your own clothes, or you're grabbing at your friends, holding them, thinking that you're dying. This is going to happen to you. By the way, how many of you have seen very closely seen a death, somebody dying? Yes. So we need to think of that. Don't think that, oh, this poor guy, one day it'll happen to it can happen to you, each one of us. And it can happen in different forms. Some extremely painful death. We never know who is going to have this painful death. We should be prepared, mentally prepared. Okay. Even if you completely wrap your body in under an outer clothes, you wrap your body from the expensive clothes, still you have no freedom to wear them other than just today, maybe today's last day. When that body becomes rigid as earth and stone, at time of death, your body becomes cold stone, you'll behold for the first time your own corpse. This is going to happen to you. Though you struggle to speak your last words, so at time so I wish we mentally be ready. Seeing these things, don't think that, oh, unfortunate, not this person. No, it can happen to me also. So sometimes people say that, Geshe-la, please rest, Geshe-la, please rest. I said, when I can run, I'll run. Right? A day will come. Even though I like to run, I cannot run. For sure it'll happen. If I am the lucky to survive, to have a long life. That too, if I'm lucky to have a long life. Otherwise, I may die early also. We never know. It's not a bad omen. I'm not uttering something, the inauspicious words. This can be a reality. So, if I'm to live long, then one day, I can run like what I'm running now. So, what I can run, I run. Run. A time comes when you cannot run anymore. No regret. This is my thing. I tell my friends. So, when I can run, don't stop me. Let me run. Right? Run to Tushita, Dharamsala, run to Bodh Gaya, run to South India, wherever. Let me run. Right? A day will come that I cannot run anymore. Then you just, Geshe-la, now please don't invite me. At that point, now let me rest. Even though I want to come, I cannot go. Okay. Yes, online teaching. So what I'm saying is that these are the realities. You're getting it? These are the realities that we have to think of. So with this in mind, think of these things. And then when that actually happens to us, we will not have a shock. And then your mind, then at that point, your mind should be busy. Think of emptiness. Think of universal compassion. Think of bodhicitta, right? And then at that point, don't be grumpy. Usually people, when you reach that age where you become bedridden, and then nothing to do, and your mind so busy, and then you become so suspicious of that person, this person, that person, and start curse this person, that person, so forth, and then becoming so easily short-tempered. And then, yes, you want to do something you cannot do, and your relatives, your friends, caretakers, they don't understand what you want, and then you become so agitated, and the agitation can manifest in different forms, and then you die as a very agitated person. So that is not a good thing for your future life. So prepare from now. One day it will happen to me. When it does happen, no regret. Okay, I'm ready. So I should be then busy with my mind. So for to keep your mind busy, that time, not about others, about your own growth, universal compassion, bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, the illusional nature of phenomena. Think of these. So the more we think of now, during the old age, you can think of them more vividly. If you are not prepared now, so that time, your mind will be so inept, totally lacking the agility that your mind cannot think of these things. And then the wrong things becomes very active. Virtuous things become so inactive. So we have to prepare from now. Okay. Though you struggle to speak your last words, your will and expressions of sorrow, pitifully your tongue dries up, and you can't make yourself clear, and intense sadness overwhelms you. This is going to happen to you. Though others put your fine food, holy substances and relics, finally, say you talk about, I like cheesecake, I like, rainbow cake, and so forth, right? We talk about these things, but finally, what is the real food that you're going to have is not the rainbow cheesecake and so forth, is the blessings. Blessed water. Somebody will put the blessed water in the mouth, expecting that this will bless you. So, with the trickle of water into your mouth, you are unable to swallow even a single drop, and it overflows from the corpse's mouth. This is going to happen to you. Those surrounded by a circle of close relatives, heart friends meaning close friends, and those near to your heart, and even though they are loving in distress at the end of your being together, while crying and clinking, just then you have to separate forever. This is going to happen to you. So these are the things, these are wise advice given to us. Think about it, read this, and then see to the reality that you are seeing of the people living in the world. Some are so close, and then they are leaving, and then finish, whole chapter finished. This is exactly what has happened to me also. This is how we have to think of. Though you experience horrific hallucination, at the time of death, what happens? Hallucinations can happen. Though you experience horrific hallucinations like a turbulence of waves and are overcome by unbearable, excruciating pain, pitiful though you may be, there's nothing to be done. appearances of this life are setting like the sun, and this life's appearance are all start to shut down. This is going to happen to you. Though with unbearable compassion, your Lama and Vajra friends plead in your ear for a critical virtues are thought to arise. Even that you are virtue, you are very meritorious. If somebody is there to remind you of the virtues, somebody is there to recite some mantras for you, you're very fortunate. And some people with the pet animals, when the pet animals is dying, they ask me, what do you do? Should we put them to sleep, which means euthanasia? Or what do you do? I said, don't put them to sleep. Don't do that. Instead, what do you do? Said, there's a pain. The vet, they know the best. So ask them for painkillers, because this animal could not speak or could feel the pain. So ask for painkillers from the vet, because the vet, they know the better. So give them the painkiller adequate amount as suggested by the doctor. And then meanwhile, every morning before you go to your work, you pet the dog or the cat or whatever, pet, and then recite mantras. Recite the mantras. Upon coming back, again, the first thing you go jump there, go there and hug the animal and pet and recite mantras. So it was 20 years ago that there was the girl from the Hong Kong. She sent a request, what should I do with this? And should I put the dog to sleep? I said, don't do that. So what I told you, I told her to do that. And she said that in 1 or 2 days time, she sent me a reply saying that that's amazing. The moment I pet it with so much love and affection and recite the mantra, the dog is also looking at the owner. And so like, I'm listening to you. Look, there is a receptivity happening because of the love that the dog gets from you, that your cat or the dog gets from you. And with this, then you recite the mantra. This mantra is the most effective when somebody is receptive. And even the human beings, they didn't get a chance to listen to these mantras when they were dying. And these cats and dogs, they're very fortunate. They're reciting they're getting the chance to listen to these mantras, and there's so much love and affection. With love and affection, somebody dies. It is said that that person will for sure take a favorable birth next time. This is so precious. Even the human beings, they don't get a chance. Even the parents and the children, they are forcing their parents to sign the documents before the parents die. They're forcing their parents to do that. Extremely sad. And then this look at the anger, agitation of the parents, and something like that. This is happening on the human realm. On the animal realm, it should be worse. But in the case of those people, sensible people, having the pet dogs and cats, so these cats and dogs, they are very, very, very meritorious. In fact, more meritorious than many human beings who did not get the chance to hear these mantras at the time of death. Okay. They expelled grasping. Grasping sounds sore, which means at the time of death, and there is those of us who have seen death, you know what the sound is like. There's a cracking sound from the breathing. The person breathes, this sound comes, so that now the hope is not much there. Okay, so this is what happens not to that person, to us, each one of us, when we die. This sorrow or the or whatever, at time of death, the movement of your breath builds faster and faster, then breaks like the string of a violin. Suddenly it stops. At the end of your life has come to its close, this is going to happen to you. There'll be a time when you've cherished and sadly lost lovely body, which you cherish so much, is called corpse, disgusting and rotten. At a time when a body which can't bear even rough bedding and mattress is laid out on a bare ground, this is going to happen to you. There will be a time when your body, which can't bear even a thorn, is chopped to pieces, and from the bone, its flesh is torn. At a time when a body which can't even stand fleas and lice is devoured by the birds and dogs till nothing's left. So there are different ways of disposing the bodies, some given to the animals, some given to the vultures, some buried, some cremated. So with the different sorts, we see that the opposite of what is to happen, even on a small scale when you're alive, we see them unbearable. At time of death, just the opposite on the last scale is exactly happening. Though you go to so much go to so much trouble blowing, poor in dressing your body in the finest of the clothes, there will come a time when the body is placed within a burning house, and a body cremation ground, and a body which can't tolerate even the fire of the glowing stick of incense must be burned in the midst of a fiery configuration. This is going to happen to you. There'll be time, there'll come a time when entering into the roaring flames, all your flesh and bones are burned and reduced to a pile of ash, or a time when a body which can't bear even heavy cloth. So say in the cold, winter cold, say when we put heavy cloth, you say it's too heavy, it's very tight in the hole in the ground. It's going to happen to you when you're buried, where your body is being bound by the ropes and so forth. There will come a time of the announcing the deceased, and then your name will be added with the label deceased, or the late father, late brother, late sister, and so forth, which means that you are already gone. At the beginning and end of your sweet name is going to happen to you. At a time when the area is filled with the sobbing sounds of your affectionate, close companions and several friends, several servants, is going to happen to you. There'll be come a time when your clothes, health, possessions, and livestock will be divided up. Yes, including the properties, and the fights happen. Say we've got nothing left in the four directions of the corners, and there will come a time when in total despair alone you reach the passage of the intermediate state. Is going to happen to you. And then in the intermediate state, which means you leave the body, now you go to the intermediate state to connect to the next life. The terrors of the four fearful enemies. Instead of the four fearful enemies, that it can be with the terrors of the dissolution of the four elements. As we die, what happens is that we are bodies made of the four elements, and the earth, water, fire, air. Each one of them will dissolve. The indications are there. So these are very scary to feel experiences. The appearance of the being trapped on a mountain of packed rock and rubble, the buried beneath a furious avalanche of earth. What do you do? Appearance of being set adrift on the surface of the vast sea, carried away by violent swirling waves. What do you do? Experience of your heart and ears being split open. So the translation should be like the heart. You hear that loud noise. What happens? You feel as though your heart breaks. You think that your eardrums just burst. So this kind of experience, by the sizzling and the crackling sounds, the loud crackling sounds of the fiery configuration, what do you do? The fearful experience of being enveloped and swept away by the swirling dark winds of the end of the eon, what do you do? When you're driven by the powerful red winds of karma and swallowed by the terrifying darkness, what do you do? When you're bound with the lasso by the master, okay, now we take, say, the intermediate state, when you take birth as the hell being or the hungry ghost being. When you're bound with the lasso by the messengers of Yama and in total despair are led away, what do you do? When you're tortured in so many detestable ways, undesirable ways, by ox and scorpion-headed karmic agents in the hell realm, what do you do? When you're before the Yama king, the Lord of Death, as he weighs up the whites and blacks, your virtues, non-virtues, and your virtues, non-virtues actions, and then you see non-virtues or more, and you are dragged into the lower realms. What do you do? When Yama exposes your lie of having spent your human life in attachment, hatred, deceit, and what do you do at that point? When at Yama's court, the punishment that is the ripening effect of your negative actions is meted out, is spelled out, or is you are put to this punishment of your negative karmas. What do you do? When your naked body is stretched out on the glowing red-hot iron in the hell realm, ground in the fires of hell, what do you do? Though your body is cut to pieces by the rain of weapons in the hell realm, weapons still you must experience. So it says that when in hell realm, although your body is cut into pieces, still you don't die to suffer the acute pain. For the human beings, we have body cut into pieces, then we die. But in hell realm, you don't die. You have to continue to bear the pain. What do you do? Though you are cooked in molten iron until your flesh falls away and your bones disintegrate, still you must experience it without dying. What do you do? Though your body and fire burn inseparably, fire and your body becomes one, still you don't die. Still you must experience it without dying. What do you do? And when your body is pierced by a freezing cold wind and cracks into 100,000 pieces. What do you do? This is the Hungry Ghost realm, or the hell realm, in the cold hell realm. And having fallen into the miserable state of the hungry ghost, with its hunger and thirst, you have to starve for many years. What do you do? Yes, hunger. So we can't really bear the pain of hunger for even for one day. So when we take birth as a hungry ghost, then for years and years, you have to remain hunger, the pain of hunger. When you have become one of those stupid, so there's animals, some unfortunate animals that eat. They eat. The suffering of the animals is primarily that each of them they just can't resist others eating yourself. They eat each other alive. What do you do? When the unbearable sufferings of the evil gone realms meaning lower realms, have actually befallen you, what do you do? Now, don't be distracted with the sounds of hurrying, loud, meaning that hurry up. Right this moment is the time to steal your will. You should set your will determination. Okay, I should not waste my time. Instead, that all these warnings given there, the pains which otherwise have to endure in the future, to stop them, I have to now set up proper motivation and willpower to work in a virtuous way. It's not only time, it's almost too late for us right now. Lahore, great force, I have to exert in virtues. The holy precept of the Lama, meaning holy advice of the Lama, kind father, how the authoritative scriptures of the victorious love song, practice of the pure path of the complete sutra and tantra, is time to place real experience meaning it's time to practice these teachings upon your mind stream. Who's the faster? Okay, now if you don't think about these things, then which comes first? Your death or tomorrow? So there's a different expression that your death or tomorrow, which comes first, we never know, which means that you may die before you see tomorrow. Who is faster, Yama, the Lord of Death, or you in your practice of realizing the essence of your eternal dream? Which comes first? We never know. The welfare of both yourself and others as much as you can each day. Unifying 3 doors of your body, speech, and mind, put the whole of your effort into your practice, the wisdom. So that is the wisest thing. So some of us may think that, okay, now he's talking about the 40 and below. So those who are 40 and plus, you may feel a little demoralized. But keep in mind that which group you belong to, 40 below or, okay. But you're way younger than me. Okay, so the thing is that, how many agree with me? That particularly those people who are below 40, you are very happy, I know. You belong younger ones, getting it? If I say 13 below, 13, 40 will be sad. Okay, so what I'm saying is that those of us who are 40 plus or 50 plus or 60 plus, whatever, say, do you agree with me that you are the youngest today of the lifespan that you are left with? Do you agree? Right? You are the youngest today of the lifespan that you are left with. You agree? Okay, if you agree with me, this is a hope. Use this youth. Today you are the youngest of the lifespan that you're left with. So I'm the youngest. From the lifespan, whatever lifespan that I'm left with, I'm the youngest today. Use this. Okay, so just born today, yes. So with this mind, finally the message is that the wisdom of emptiness, driven by the universal compassion. This is the core message. So with this, then single-point meditation to support these 2 practices, single-point meditation. Then meanwhile, to make sure that this happens in our life, it's not that easy. It's not that easy to make sure that it happens in our life. You should have, someone who, is very, very touching. There was one girl, and after about 6 years, she told me that now I see that the most important thing to do in our life is to bring about change in your mind. To bring about change in your mind from somebody who is who is not intellectually so smart to make it smart. Somebody who is not so kind to become kind. Somebody who's impatient to become more patient. Somebody who is a little selfish to more compassionate. So this is the most, for this, we really need to learn how to do these things. And for that, the girl said that the Buddha's teachings, this is so precious, particularly what we inherited from the Nalanda great masters. This is so precious. I said that now I see the reason why I have to dedicate my time in this direction. But if I have used the last 6 years after completing my high school, last 6 years I've used that, by now I've reached to some level of my maturation. But how come that this thought didn't come to me 6 years ago? I told her that even for you to get this thought today is because of all these last 6 years of your effort, that you have gradually grown up, you've gradually, they say, progress, you become more and more mature, and today you become very mature, that this thought came to you without somebody imposing on you. So likewise, each one of us, our job is to make sure that this happens, that the wisdom of emptiness and universal compassion, Bodhicitta, that these two become a part, the most important salient part of your life, for which, to make sense of this, we need to have a systematic study as a constant reminder for us, systematic studies. Then meanwhile, whatever you study, try your best to put into practice and in action. If possible, try to always offer the benefit to other beings. Always try to help others in whatever capacity. And then also, if not, try not to harm others. And then meanwhile, spread this message of compassion and to your family members, to your friends, people, you have some of the family members who are into politics, who are politicians. Some are bureaucrats. Some are in the business, corporate worlds. Some are school principals, school teachers, so forth. Just share your thoughts to them. These people, otherwise they may not get the chance to hear these things. You share these thoughts with them, that your family members, there's somebody who's a bureaucrat, become more kind bureaucrat. Someone who's a politician, become more sensible politician. So, and the school teachers, they become more wise, more resilient, more compassionate teachers through your influence. So not just that you practice these, but also spread this message to others as much as we can. If you can do this much, this is the plus. Meanwhile, this text is so amazingly powerful and so precious. And each one of us try to read this as oftentimes as possible. So with this, we're finished. And any questions? Some questions? Some questions offline, online? Raise hands if you have questions. Raise hands. Okay. The Isarla.
Thank you, Geshe. Usually I'm just wondering, how can we bring about Dharma practice to our pets in their day-to-day lives?
Okay, so the question is, how can we bring the Dharma practice to our pets in a day-to-day basis? So what I would say is that the one thing that is formed in the case of Isar, I would say that Isar himself is extremely meritorious person with an amazing mother, and this is something so precious. So what I would say is that the first thing that we do is say before we share the gold, make sure that you become rich in gold. If you don't have the gold, we cannot distribute the gold to others, export gold. So what we do is that try our best to grow as much as possible. But meanwhile, don't overexert. Let us not overexert. Make sure that we grow with the systematic studies, plus your practice, plus in action, helping others in whatever little way that you, for example, like Isar, how much you're the Shiksha school children, how much they love you. This is a clear indication that you are actually leaving impact in the minds of others, actually reaching out to others, young children, helping them. So this is something which is to be done. 3 things. 1 is systematic studies. Number 2, your daily practice. Number 3, actual so like the theory and the practice, the lab. You go to serve the community, and of course we need to have a sense of discretion. To what extent should I dedicate for my service? To what extent my own practice? What extent my studies? There should be a balance there. So, with this, then for example, the animals, even the animals, the pet animals, say they have the capacity. They understand your language. For example, you can sit down. He understands it. She understands it. And okay, now come, understands it. Okay, then I'm a little sad. Now look, psychologically, this becomes more sophisticated thought process. I'm a little sad. And then you express the sadness, the dog or the cat could feel that. And then you say that, okay, now today I'm very happy. I'm very happy there too. I'm very happy because I'm getting a cheesecake. Or I'm very happy because that I understand emptiness a little bit. These are very different. The dog can feel the difference. So whatever things related to the Dharma, say, don't underestimate the poor animals, thinking that they don't understand anything. They can understand a lot. So in whatever little way you can talk to them, like each one of us, how our parents talk to you when you were a toddler, 2 years old child, 1 day old child, 2 days old child, or like 1 month old child. You don't understand anything, but the mother talks to you. Mother talks to you out of love. So likewise, you can talk to your pet dog, talk about emptiness, talk about bodhicitta, right? Don't remain like a dog all the time. You have the responsibility to awaken your Buddha nature. Today I'm sharing the wisdom of emptiness, what the Buddha taught, from what I learned from the Buddha's teachings, I'm sharing with you. Your job is to learn this. And then see to his reaction. See to his reaction. When you talk like this, see to his reaction. You say that, okay, what are you saying, right? So you feel from his behavior, body language, you could feel that he's trying to pretend that he understands you. So these are so precious. Meanwhile, then recite some holy mantras. These are very important. Good. Over there, your name? Ritu. Yes, Rudaja. Yes, Rituja.
Sorry, I'm taking it back to your first or second step that you mentioned. You keep saying that there's this hidden golden treasure. I want to believe you, and I had believed whoever was giving teachings, but then mind keeps casting doubts, like, what is the proof? Why do I believe that there's something else?
Okay, the question is, I don't know whether the online participant, did you hear the question? Very good, I'm so glad. Okay, the question is that constantly there's a reference to the hidden treasure within us. Each one of us, no matter who you are, we have the hidden treasure. The question is, yes, I trust you, but I would be more happy if you don't trust me. Because if you trust me, if you trust me means that I have a blind faith in you. I don't really like that part. Instead, I would say that, okay, I don't really not trust you. I'll also not trust you. Not trust you also, right? Okay, so instead, I would really like to know, how do I know that I have this Buddha nature? If you ask this question, I'll be most happy. How do you know that each one of us, we have this Buddha nature? I too have the Buddha nature. How do you know that? This is an extremely important question. Extremely important question. And I would say that the blaze. Anybody has the blaze? Raise hands. Anybody has the blaze? Okay, Isarla. I said that my prophet is correct. My prophet is correct. Yes, it's fine. So look, the fact that this book comes, wherever he travels, means something. So this is what I meant as somebody very meritorious. Okay, these are the proof. Okay, so the Nitija, Rituja, okay. Rituja, so this book, you must bother this young man, to get a copy for yourself from Tibet House. You're getting it? In this, there's one composition by Arya Nagarjuna. So this precisely talks about what is this Buddha nature and how do you know that it is within me. You get it? The text is known as In Praise of Dharma Dhatu. In Dharma Dhatu meaning your hidden treasure. It is there within everyone, and he has given beautiful metaphors. Okay, what does this mean? This means Tinzi Ravyang, right? Okay, so to give you a very quick idea as to how do you know that there's a Buddha nature inside. What is Buddha nature? Don't think that there's something gold shining inside. Don't think like this. It is the potential inside us to feel the fearlessness, no fear, no matter what external factors, and to feel the ease to infinity. This is the potential that we have. How do you know that? This question, how do you know that? Okay, let's say. So first let me give you the metaphor that this great teacher gave, Nagarjuna. The metaphor that he gave, this very beautiful metaphor. And the other one is with respect to our real day-to-day life. I'll relate the two things. The metaphor that Nagarjuna gave is that they say you want to read a book and it's completely dark. And I said, okay, Riduja, don't worry, go to room A. There's a light there. And you go to room A and you come back. So I said, no, it's truly dark. I said, no, there's a light there. No, I've been there with my own eyes. I saw that it's dark. Then I tell you that did you sense that there is a on the pot? There's a pot, pitcher, put upside down. Yes, there was a pot, put upside down. Okay, inside that there's a light there. There's light bulb. But how do you know that? Yes, pot is there, but how do you know that there's a light inside there? So then I tell you that you do one thing. You punch a hole to this pot, any way you like, just punch a hole. The moment you punch a hole, light from inside beams forth. And then you still, it can be accidental. But how do you know there's a light which spreads everywhere? Break the pitcher. You break it and the light spreads everywhere. So it was not that there was no light. You did not see the light because this light was obstructed by the pitcher. So likewise, that you have this light like hidden treasure that is blocked by the pitcher of the mental defilements. Our job is to remove this pitcher of the mental defilements. This is nothing but the ignorance. Remove the ignorance and the pitcher which blocks this hidden treasure, remove. Then the hidden treasure will shine. You getting it? Beautiful examples are given there. Beautiful examples. Amazing beautiful examples. Just look at the examples that this great teacher gave. You'll be baffled by that, number one. Number two, that I'd like to share with you is that, okay, but did you ever feel a very beautiful moment in your life? Very beautiful moment. Any moment? Beautiful? Really, really, really beautiful ones. Where you feel like, it's so beautiful. You had such beautiful moments? You like to share? You like to share?
I don't remember.
Okay, don't worry. Let's say that each one of us, raise hands, those who have such very beautiful, extremely beautiful moments, raise hands, in your life. We have. Who was that? Somebody was there. Now I don't remember who that person was. Just recently, yesterday, or said that this person under with a certain situation, the person felt extremely, very profoundly peaceful. And the person said, but it's not happening every time. It happened only one time. You're getting it? So the situation, we thought that, so this situation gave me that pleasant feeling. But if this situation is giving the pleasant feeling, whenever this situation happens, you should have the pleasant feeling, but it's not happening. For him, it happened only once. Likewise, cheesecake. How many like cheesecake? Raise hands. This girl likes cheesecake. I can see that. There's a glow on her face. How many like momos? Okay. Momos is more popular. Okay. Okay, let's say that Ritu, you like momos? Very good. let's say, which momos they say, how many momos can you eat? 10 pieces? 20 pieces?
No, 6, 7.
6, 7. Let's say 7. Okay, 10. If I force you 10 momo,
I'll feel nauseous.
okay, you can eat it, but then it'll make you throw up.
Yeah.
Okay, which is more delicious? First piece is more delicious, or 10th one is more delicious? First one. Let's keep the first one last. Let's keep the first one last, and you take the second, third, fourth, till the 10th one, which makes you puke. And then you eat the first one, which is most delicious one. Is it delicious or delicious then? It's no more delicious. You're getting it? First momo per se is not delicious. You're getting it? If that is delicious, if that is the really one, this is one which is giving you the sense of the pleasure or the ease, then keep it last. And it should give the same feeling, but it's not giving that. So in fact, let's say that I press the music app. I press the music app on the mobile. What happens? The music comes out. Music comes out. My fingers know the music. How many agree with me? My finger is not the music. Finger is the trigger for the music to come out. You agree? It's the trigger. It's not the music. Likewise, cheesecake and the momo, these are not the pleasures. These are like the fingers to trigger the pleasure from inside. And pleasure comes from out some way. It's coming from outside. Whenever you eat it, it should come, but it's not happening. So, but a finger, the same finger, I press it on the music app, music comes out. A finger, the same thing, I press this, no music comes out. You getting it? Which means that this is a trigger, it's not the real music. So, likewise, the real music is a metaphor for the joy that you feel, and the cheesecake and the momos, the external factors, they are like the finger to press the button, and then something come out. What something comes out is not coming from the finger, it's coming from inside. So what is that inside? That is the hidden treasure. It's come from inside. You're getting it? But because you depend on the external finger, external factors, they're not sure. They're not reliable. Whereas if you can directly, instead of using the external indirect ways, if you go directly to make it come out, remove the ignorance, then that will be with us 24/7. Whereas depend on external factors, for example, your friend, right? Say there is a person who you have to depend, and you always ask your brother to contact this person. Your brother is very influential, so the person requests the person listens to, and your work is done. When your brother is missing, when the brother is gone, you make the request to the person says, "Who are you?" You're getting it? Which means that your brother is the trigger. The benefit is coming from that person. But your brother is the trigger. When in his absence, that is not happening. So when the external factor is not there, your happiness is not happening. So whereas if you learn how not to depend on external factors, but go direct to remove the ignorance, then the happiness that inside will be with you 24/7. This is known as the hidden treasure.
Is it possible to get a quick glimpse of it and then work towards it?
That's a good question. The answer is yes, of course. Of course, for example, Archimedes. Hey, who's Archimedes? The one who said, Eureka! You're getting it? Eureka, he forgot that he was naked. He jumped in the street. You're getting it? Why he forgot that he was naked? Because he was overwhelmed by the tremendous sense of victory, tremendous sense of joy, excessive joy, which is coming from inside. You're getting it? In which case you should become like Archimedes. You're getting it? Okay. So what I'm saying is that yes, it is possible. But what I would say is that the nobler the goals, more the time taking. You're getting it? To build a small shed, to build a small simple hut, and you can build in one day. But to build a proper house, proper mansion, it takes years. So you're getting it? So to uncover this hidden treasure, you have to remove the self-grasping ignorance. And this ignorance is a stain with us, it's a chronic disease. You getting it? It'll take time, but this journey of remove that is extremely beautiful journey. It's a beautiful journey. It's not what I call it. It's not a tedious journey. It's going to be a very beautiful journey. Every time you remove something, the joy that you get is far more than the joy Archimedes got. You're getting it? Very good. Okay, there's one here, Nili, Portugal, and then we have Sanjayji, Nili from online.
Hi. Hello, how are you?
Yes.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. I'm calling from far away from Tel Aviv.
Yes.
Okay, now my question is very simple. You see, along the years that I've been, of course, attending your great teachings and others, I thought that I understood that, the Buddhist philosophy talks really, they say, okay, we forget about the past. We don't know what the future will be. So let's live the moment and do, meaningful things and whatever, but live the present. Maybe I'm misunderstood, I misunderstood it. But if it's true, my question is, so why do we have actually to discuss and be engaged with the death?
Okay. Thank you. So what Nili is saying is that oftentimes you see the mention of, in Buddhism, there's a mention of forget the past, forget the future, focus on the present moment, be in the present moment. So in fact, I would say that the same for a child. For a child, let's say there's somebody who, for a young child, let's not force him or her to do PhD. So let them focus on the playground. Let them focus on ABC. Don't force them to do PhD. So this says we have to know the context. In the context of a small child, the focus should be on the, say, games and a little bit of the studies together. And then teddy bear also. When you become, you say 20 years old, still teddy bear, then this is the wrong thing. So for the same, so there are times where you should be just focus on what is now, present moment. There are times where you need to focus on the past, learn from the past. There are times where you need to focus on the future, plan for the future. Because these policymakers all design on the basis of experience of the past and today, present, and based on that, make policy for the future. So if this is the Buddha's teachings is, I would say, extremely practical, realistic, and which of course with the time. So if it says that forget about the past and don't think about the future, this is a disaster. This is a disaster. There's a context where we just focus on now rather than in the past and the future. But it doesn't mean that always think like this. This is not true. So if ever you meet with somebody saying that forget about past all the time, forget about the future all the time, just focus on today. If there's someone who takes this teaching literally, then the person doesn't really understand the Buddha's teachings. So your job is to, therefore, I emphasize the need for the people to always keep a slot of time for your consistent studies. This is very important. This will give you a proper picture of the Buddha's teachings. The picture of the Buddha's teachings, not just a partial teaching. It's very important to know the reality. Good. Okay, Sanjayji.
Yeah, Geshe-la,
Thank you.
what she has said and you were talking about. So in economics, there's a law of diminishing marginal utility, which says that, for a hungry man, the first chapati gives more satisfaction than the second, the third, and finally. So even like somebody I've seen when I'm hungry, even the food I don't like or the vegetable I don't like, I eat and gives me a satisfaction. So, like you said, even you keep the first momo aside, but the first one will give you more satisfaction always. Ask if you're for a hungry man. It's like, it's a scorching heat outside, and even a little shade I get under the tree, it'll give me some satisfaction.
Of course. In fact, this is where
Maybe it's temporal because, again, after some time that'll like it happens like in a scorching heat. I come to my car and turn on the AC at full speed, but after some time I have to reduce because of the suffering of changes happen because things I was feeling very hot, then I felt very good, then normal, and then it becomes unhappiness sort of thing.
Okay, online participants, did you hear what Sanjay just said? Good, thank you. So what Sanjay just said is extremely important. This is where the Buddha's teachings is extremely practical. What is meant by practical? Practical meaning that something which allows us to be in line with your the reality of the life. The reality of life is that we have a stomach and we have the body. But if stomach we feel hungry, with the body we can feel cold or hot. And then when we feel hungry, there's no room for dharma. First, feed the person. When you feel cold, give warmth. When you feel hot, give cold. This is very important. So therefore, that is what is known as the coming together of the two things: external factors and internal factors. External factors, internal factors. So first, where the external factors so acutely are torturing us, so we have to take care of the external factors. Meanwhile, without neglecting the external factors, like say make sure that you're not hungry, and then you go into Dharma practice. So these are extremely important. It's for this reason that His Holiness the Dalai Lama always says that we have the body and the mind. To make sure that our body is healthy, we require material development. For our mind to be healthy, we require the study of the psychology, practice of the spirituality. We require these two things. So these two are not to be compromised one over the other. Okay, the one girl over there. Girl over there, yes. Over there.
Thank you. I have two questions actually.
Yes.
So, going back to first thing what you said about Lord Ram as Dharma. We talk about Lord Ram's great work, great compassion, but we fail. We are also not able to see or maybe neglect what he did with Sita. So that context is also needs to be, maybe it's a political scenario that we have to look at, but I'm also seeking your understanding that when we see people or great people with great compassion, there's always an underlying fault in them also that we don't talk about. My second question is what you talked about UPSC, that people preparing for years and years are not able to make it many times. Is it maybe it's their karma cycle, but what about artists who just write for years and years and get acclaimed posthumously? So posthumously after they die.
Recognition after the death.
So like, how do we define the karma cycle for both these, or maybe understand Dharma more intricately?
Okay, the first part about Lord Ram, and you were saying that while I eulogize Lord Ram, but this is the other side which cannot be neglected. Okay, let us put it like this. What the reality is, I'm not authority on this. Let us leave it on the historians. Or I won't say whether it's history or not, I'm not too sure. The theologians, historians may not have anything about to that. It's just more, they may say that this is not history. They may say this is about the theology. So whatever is the case, what I would say is that For example, like very practically speaking, my mom died when I was 5 years old, and it's because of the child delivery complications. Now, for me, there's no point in wasting my time to complain about the situation of my family, a situation of the world. Why the science has not developed at that point? Why not? So today, if my mom is alive, and she will not have this problem. No point. Instead, think of, say, my mom is not perfect. The science was not perfect. Because science was not perfect, from there gradually the science developed. And feel grateful that you are in a generation where the science has developed so much. Feel grateful that Lord Ram inspired so many, like 1 billion Indians. Feel grateful to that. Inspired 1 billion Indians. And by thinking of the wrong things, whatever, whether it happened or not happened, the wrong things, nobody will benefit out of that. Nobody will benefit out of that. Instead, you are discouraging others from feeling the ease of thinking of Lord Ram. You are damaging these ease. You are being disservice to them. So therefore, what I'm saying is that let us be very practical. Practical meaning that think of those things which are useful. Let us just discount those things which are not useful. So to think of Lord Ram is being, eulogized. How many people feel the joy to think of Lord Ram? Let us not destroy the peace of mind. Is one thing. Then it talks about the UPSC preparing for years and years. So if this girl and others, you feel, say, the most stress, I'm not responsible. This girl is responsible. She's again bringing this up. Right? I said, I'm not going to bring this up anymore. She brought this up. Okay, is it the karma or what? Right? Okay, there's no blame on the karma. So now if I were the case, if I were in their case, and they preparing for the UPSC, and I gave 5 attempts, and I failed, what I would do is that I would always go for minimum like 3 plans. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. Your life is so beautiful. You have a beautiful life. It's not that UPSC is the only thing. You're getting it? And out of the people who became the IAS officers or whatever officers, then how many of them will be remembered after 200 years, after 300 years? Maybe 1 or 2 who made who left an exceptional mark in the administration of the Indian government. So these people will be remembered. Otherwise, majority will just, disappear. So your life is not like that. UPSC is not the only life. There are so many other beautiful lives you can think of. So think of Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. And don't stress yourself. Don't stress yourself. This would be my suggestion. Why I'm saying this is that I went through that myself. When I was in class 9, 10, 11, 12, for 4 years, I was thinking of becoming a physicist. And then the class 12, only physics. Class 10, 9, 10, 11, for 3 years, I took PCBM. What is PCM? Physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics. I took all the 4. Class 12, I deliberately dropped biology. And my biology teacher was so upset. He sent a message to my math teacher saying, persuade this boy to continue biology. And my math teacher, he said, Dorji, is it true that you dropped biology? I said, yes, sir. He has nothing to do with that. He's my math teacher. I'm not dropping math. He said, no, you continue. It's good. You continue biology. I said, sir, no, I don't want to continue. I'm continuing your subject. I'm not going to do that. Because later I could discover that it was my biology teacher who persuaded the math teacher to persuade this boy to continue taking the biology. So I dropped it because my thinking was only UPSC. Like what these young people, they're doing. It's only physics. And then the last minute, it brought the whole say disaster. And now I almost become like insane, crazy. Yes, I don't want to go into detail then. Right? You may be interested. What then? Right? It's already 9 o'clock, 9:30. Yes.
I just have one question.
Yes, please.
Geshe, it's a personal one and a hypothetical one.
Yes.
If you knew that you just had 1 day to live or 1 week to live, what would you do? And secondly, in your meditations, have you experienced your own death and dying?
Okay, so basically, if there's only 1 day, 1 week left, and what would I do? If I know that there's only 1 day, 1 week, then the best thing is, so whatever I've learned from my teacher, but the 4 seals, they contemplating all composite things impermanent, all contemplating things of nature, everything is nature, empty selflessness, transcendence, nirvana. I think of that. And then the bodhicitta, universal compassion, all the beings. Think of the Buddha, your own teachers. Think of them. This is the best thing. This is a guarantee that the next life is going to be very smooth. Guarantee. And I pray that throughout my future lifetimes, I never be severed from my gurus, that I meet with that Dharma, that I have the realizations, and then attain the Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, continue to serve all sentient beings, and include this prayer every day. That is the best thing to be done. So the next thing is that, did I really feel the death and so forth? Yes, of course, but once in a while, each one of us, we can have funny, scary dreams of dying, yourself dying, falling, so forth. These things happen, yeah. Good. Good. Okay, now thank you so much, Professor Renugaji, and thank you. And
well, thank you very much, Geshe, and we'll wait for the next time very soon.
Thank you, and thank you, Nicola, and thank you, all the volunteers of Tushita Center and Tibetan staff, and all the participants, both offline and online. Yes, and then Nicola will do the end dedication prayer for all of us.
I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realizations of the deeds and the prayers of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine of Scripture and insight. May I, in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect view, and those 2 stages. For my 2 collections, vast as space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance.
Okay, we'll start the Buddha chant. Nicola, do you have that? You don't have it? Okay. Kunjal, do you have that? Buddha chant screen sharing? You don't have it. These young people, they don't have it. Okay, let's recite the Harsut mantra then. Deota Gom Gate Gate Aragate Arasangate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Aragate Arasangate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Aragate Arasangate Bodhisvatyata. Okay, thank you, all the participants, both offline, online, and everyone.